When Uncharted 4 opens for, well, the fourth time, we take control of Drake smack in the middle of the Malaysia job. In a Burmese invasion of Phuket in 1785, the Chalet pirates took the treasure of pearls that they had amassed over decades and fled through the Malacca Strait, never to be seen again. Centuries later, Drake and Jameson have charted the currents in the strait, and by cross-referencing it with a historical monsoon, have pinpointed the most likely resting place for the Sea Gypsies' lost treasure. Drake finds the last box of the stuff, straps it in, and... Oh. Nathan Drake's adventuring days are behind him. The Malaysia job is a reference to a salvage operation that's just too dangerous because without the permits, Jameson and Marine could face legal trouble that could put the whole enterprise at financial risk.
No permits means no go.
The stakes couldn't be higher. This is the life of Nathan Lost City a Weekend Drake. His attic is peppered with mementos of his past adventures. So bored with his day-to-day, he gets a dopamine hit shooting targets like he's back on that Pacific island searching for the City of Gold.
Bullseye. Take that.
And he gave up that life for his wife Elena, because she recognized that what he was doing wasn't healthy. Nate was obsessed with earning the name that he took for himself as a boy.
Sic parvis magna. Greatness from small beginnings.
Greatness from small beginnings was how Drake defined himself. And if he could not be as great as his namesake, then he did not deserve to claim it. By the end of Uncharted 3, he's able to let go of that.
Prove your greatness!
I got nothing to prove.
But in doing so, he's given up on something that makes him happy. Nathan Drake, up to and including in Uncharted 4, revels in outsmarting others. And the lesson that he correctly learns at the end of Uncharted 3 is that isn't healthy. Stepping out into a lost city that no one's laid eyes on for centuries should be its own reward. But for Drake, the fun part sure seems to be cleverly outwitting his far better armed and financed opponents. That's what gives finding a civilization all its flavor. The underdog finding something unbelievable. Greatness from small beginnings. Drake's drive to earn his namesake is why Elena left him twice before. So ultimately, he gives up pursuing greatness. But he's learned the wrong lesson here. Nate's become guilty over his search for adventure because adventure is what feeds his ego. He's the smartest, he's the most athletic, he can talk his way out of anything. And he loves that. But he also loves the scenic vistas and solving the puzzles left by great men who are long deceased. He enjoys figuring out what happened in the past and how to navigate the side of a cliff to get to the top. None of these things need to feed his pride. They alone are intrinsically valuable to him. And he gave those up because he thought he had to in order to be with the woman that he loves. Because he knew that she was right to have left him over his past behavior. When his long-lost brother stumbles back into his life, though, we see him immediately fall back into his old ways. I found El Dorado. I explored Shambhala. I discovered a realm of the Pillars. No mention of Sully or Chloe, and that's not even the worst part.
Start with the best part.
Whoa there, cowboy. Get in!
No cursed treasures?
Nope.
No diabolical warlords?
No.
What about your wife, Drake? Sam drags his brother back into action by telling a pretty tall tale of a prison break orchestrated by Hector Alcazar, and it sets them off on an unfinished treasure hunt from 15 years before. As payment for helping him escape prison, El Chapo here will accept nothing less than Henry Avery's treasure, something the Drake brothers were searching for before Sam wound up in prison. As the myth goes, history's greatest pirates were said to have pooled their treasure together and formed the lost colony of Libertalia. Henry Avery, Thomas Tew, and a couple boatloads of pirates founded a country of their own, and they built it with their massive wealth accumulated from plots like the Gunsway heist. And it's this that Sam needs to find, or face the retribution of Pablo Escobar. And if that sounds like some BS to you, it is. Sam's made up this story in order to rope his brother into an adventure that he'd otherwise reject. In the next chapter of Uncharted 4, the Drakes recruit Sully. Nate tells Elena that he's decided to take that Malaysia job after all, and the boys rendezvous at the auction house where the stakes slowly escalate. What was supposed to be a simple grab from storage becomes a theft in broad daylight. Nate will have to slip around and hit the power, while Sully slows the auction down, risking his bank account, and when that's exhausted his life, bidding on an item that he most certainly cannot afford. When the power's out, Sam will grab the cross. The new plan is a little bit more complicated, but it's still potentially smooth. That's all made a little bit more dangerous when it turns out that security's packing heat. One slip-up could get all three of them killed on the spot. Worse, Nadine Ross is here. She runs a private militia, and she is here on behalf of Rafe Adler, an ex-partner of the Drake brothers. And he is pursuing the same treasure. Even if they get out of here with the cross, Rafe won't be far behind. If Nate's been trying to keep the door to life-threatening adventure closed, each of these developments is slowly creaking it open.
Oh, scusi.
You're not supposed to be back here.
Well, neither are you. But I'll tell you what, I won't tell anyone if you don't.
Any one of these things may have made the job too dangerous on its face for Nate to run off with his brother. But as they all line up in front of him, it just adds to the thrill. The challenge just gets more interesting for these two, and instead of bargaining, they roll with it. But Sully is a bit more uneasy. The whole affair ends in a shootout, and when the Drakes start talking next steps, Sully grows even more concerned. They know where to go, but Rafe and Nadine will be right behind him, with a private army to boot. The enthusiasm on Nate's face, though, is the most troubling.
I thought this was about saving Sam.
Sully's watching as Sam seduces him back into a lifestyle that he gave up on.
How is Elena cool with all this? Jesus, kid.
And when it's revealed that Nate's putting his relationship with Elena at risk, Sully gets even more agitated. This is the lesson that Nate's learned the hard way, not once, but twice, and the third time's gonna hurt him even more. Sully is afraid that Nate is slipping back into something that he can't come back from, unaware that he's giving up something even more important to him.
Nathan, he's right. Things have changed. Rafe's involved now, and I can take this on my own, really.
Now this is sneaky, and Sully sees right through it. Sam's appealing to Nate's delusion that he's on this job keeping his wife in the dark because he's trying to save his kind and good-natured brother. How dare Sully insinuate that this is about treasure? And that leads to this.
Something on your mind, dear?
Sam's demeanor shifts from light to dead serious as these two challenge each other on what's in Nate's best interest. But Sully gets the last word in.
Why are you here, Victor?
Because somebody's got to keep an eye out for him.
The implication being that Sam isn't. Scotland and Madagascar are pretty typical Uncharted, albeit with far more restraint, but they build to what is without a doubt the most impressive set piece in the series. And the story follows that high point with this.
That treasure is as good as ours. Shit.
How's the Malaysia job going, Nate? Seems like you're a hair off course.
And this is the turn. Uncharted 4 began by teasing us. Then it eased us back into the Uncharted formula through the auction house. For the next few hours, we were fully back in the adventure, no longer content to just run from bullets, but toward them. And this is the thrill that we all play Uncharted for, that improvisational gameplay that has you taking opportunities on instinct. So fixated on saving his brother, Drake will leap from the driver's seat of a Jeep to hang off of a moving truck on the highway above. Whatever happens next, he'll figure it out then. And here, all that fantasy comes crashing down. And you tell me, did you buy Uncharted for this?
Yeah, bring it.
Or did you buy it for this? You know what the difference is between Nate and Elena? Elena is conscientious of her actions. In Uncharted 2, she pushes Drake to leap off this Jeep in order to save Chloe. In Uncharted 3, she was prepared to hide in a plane and jump out with the cargo in order to save Sully. So, would Elena have chased after Nate's brother when mercenaries caught up to him? Yeah, definitely. Would she have recklessly left off this truck? Probably not, because she knows that there are better and safer options available to save Sam if she stops for a moment and thinks. Would she have decided the best course of dealing with Sam's debt situation was finding an old pirate treasure? Yeah, I'm thinking not. For one, she would have Googled Hector Alcazar's name and found out that he was already dead. But even if Sam's story wasn't a lie, she would have pushed for a more practical option. And you know what? If it turned out that getting that pirate treasure was 100% necessary, she would have gone right along with everyone else in finding it. So why didn't Nate tell her about the situation with his brother? Well, she had left him twice before, presumably because he kept trying to find fulfillment in outsmarting mercenaries while questing for glory.
Gotta say, I'm not normally the kind of guy who likes to quit while he's ahead.
But here's reality. He didn't tell her because he wanted to find that treasure with his brother. Hector Alcazar was the excuse, not the reason. And Elena would have poked holes in that.
She wouldn't understand this.
You are not giving her enough credit.
Both Nate and Sully are right here. She wouldn't understand because Nate knows that he can't justify it to her. And if he could justify it, well, she'd be by their side. So Nate and Sam head off to the island of Libertalia, and this whole time Nate reflects on why he's here. Even as they stumble upon the lost city itself, it's without flavor.
What would our lives have been like if we hadn't started by chasing these people who've been dead for hundreds of years?
These chapters have arguably the most beautiful vistas in the entire series, but Nate is far less enraptured by their beauty.
Libertalia. Libertalia!
This is all that Sam has wanted for his entire life. And it used to be all that Nate wanted too. But that's no longer true because it came at the cost of losing the one thing that he doesn't want to live without. This city, that treasure, it doesn't mean anything anymore. He potentially gave up his wife to save his brother. So you can imagine how unhappy Nate is when he finds out that that tall tale about drug lords was a lie.
I bribed the prison warden, and your brother, he just waltzed right out the front gate. Sam, care to refute?
Nate.
Oh, Sam. Jesus, no.
Listen, Avery's treasure was ours. It was always ours.
I left my light for you. Oh, don't listen.
Elena swoops in to save the day, but...
Thanks for saving me. Again.
I almost didn't this time.
It's a little bit more complicated than that. The next series of chapters has Elena questioning whether or not to give up on this marriage. She came back for Nate this time, but what about the next time, or the one after that? If this is going to happen to her again, then she has to cut him loose and move on with her own life. And as they progress through Libertalia in pursuit of Sam, they continue to come back to this conversation, and Nate deeply struggles to understand why he lied to his wife.
You know, even if you think that you're protecting me, you don't have a right to shut me out like that. No matter what it is, you're supposed to come to me so that we can work through it together, as a team.
I know that. Really, I do. It's just...
But Nate still doesn't necessarily agree that what he did was wrong-headed. He was trying to save his brother, and he probably still believes that lying to Elena was the best thing for him to do. The second time goes a bit better, because there's a lot more truth here.
I wasn't trying to protect you. It's just, I made a promise that I was done with this life.
We both did.
Yeah, but I broke it. I didn't tell you because I was afraid.
Afraid of what?
Of losing you. I guess I was, protecting myself. You know?
But this too is incomplete because Drake is still coming from the position that his promise to her, to quit this life, was mutually exclusive with saving Sam. He was afraid that she wouldn't have agreed with his choice to save his brother because that meant going on another adventure. But that's not why they made this promise in the first place. Libertalia is an island where 12 pirate captains and their crews came together, pooled their wealth, and built a lavish colony. When it came time to pay out for all the construction, the captains refused, sparking an enormous revolt, which they dealt with by causing an enormous flood. With the wealth now consolidated to the captains, they began to turn on each other, and it's at this point that the top-ranking pirates, Avery and Two, organized a feast to reconcile the differences between them. Whether it was out of paranoia, selfish greed, or both, the pirates quashed the colonists before turning against each other. And that all came to a head here, where Thomas Two and Henry Avery outwitted everyone and reduced the number of shares in the treasure from thousands to 12 to 2. These people who saw greatness from their small beginnings. These people who hoped to build a nation out of their plunder. These people who wished to rest on the lavishness earned from their lives as thieves.
These are some of history's greatest pirates. And they all perished in an instant. At this very table.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And in that moment, Drake understands why he and Elena agreed to be done with this life. These pirates killed each other over treasure that they already had. They did not find greatness in their wealth. They found it in consolidating it under themselves. They found it in turning on each other, so eventually only the greatest among them would survive. Elena didn't demand that Drake give up on the adventure. She called on him to give up trying to prove his greatness, because that's something you can never stop chasing. And it only ends one way. And at the same time, Elena remembers why she fell in love with Drake in the first place. Nate has never been more animated than he is here, piecing together what happens to these pirates. And in his life, he's not getting that, salvaging 21st century semis at the bottom of a harbor. It's here that Elena realizes what's missing from Nate's life, solving the puzzles left by the people in the past and explaining their intentions with the people that he cares about. I understand what you were afraid I'd become. You weren't keeping me away from the adventure. You were keeping me away from becoming like them. I should have come to you so that we could work through what to do about Sam together.
I'm sorry.
I didn't realize what we gave up when we settled down. We should have found a way for us to still have this in our lives. I understand why you were afraid to come to me. And I know that next time you won't be, and we'll work it out together. I forgive you.
It's okay.
And Uncharted 4's conclusion is about Nate parting this lesson to his brother before it's too late. And Nate, Elena, and Sully are able to rescue Sam and get within spitting distance of their ride home, but Sam can't leave the treasure behind when he's just so close. This is a treasure that consumes the people that dare seek it. It lures them in, and it shuts its jaws.
You and me. No offense to these guys, but they don't get it.
You don't understand. I finally proved it. Drake lied about his route through the East Indies. 400 years ago, he came here.
Why, Nate?
That's what we're here to find out.
No, I mean, why this obsession?
Actually, Sam, they do. They really do. Okay. Trust me, they've seen this kind of obsession before. Sam, we're not those kids anymore. We're not. And we got nothing to prove.
Sam begrudgingly follows until he has an opportunity to make a run for the treasure.
I'm sorry. Sam! Sam!
And the consequences of that are clear to everyone.
He's gonna get himself killed.
I thought this was about saving Sam.
It is. I mean, come on, it's both, right? We need the treasure so we can save Sam.
If you're done lying to me, then you should stop lying to yourself.
Whoa. There's your treasure. Was it worth it?
Nate finds his brother crushed under a collapsed column, and he's content to die here. And this is the consequence of obsession. Sam was so fixated on finding this treasure that he sees no life past it. He didn't want the treasure for wealth. He wanted it so that he could finish what his mother started, so he could live up to the greatness that he imagined of her. This is the empty feeling that comes with chasing an obsession. You forget what you have to live for, even when you finally got it. And it's at that point that you turn on the people around you. They stand in the way of your greatness. They want to take it from you. They don't get it. But do you? Because in the end, after pulling off the greatest heist in history, starting a nation, building the grandest of mansions that would make Louis XIV jealous, after luring thousands of men and women to an island with the promise of riches, to be slaughtered and plundered, after after outwitting those colonists and drowning the rebellion, manipulating the other 10 captains that founded your colony, taking them all out in one foul swoop, none of that was enough. It ended here. Avery and Tu killed each other and died with nothing because they never had anything but this. And this? Currency? Its worth is only in the value of the items that you can purchase with it. And if a nation doesn't have value to you, then what is this treasure worth? Nate and Sam were once doomed to fall into this trap. Men of fortune who never stop seeking their fortune. Because greatness isn't something tangible. It's the value that you place on what you've accomplished. It's how much you cherish what you have.
It's what you do with the hand you dealt.
Thanks for watching.